What's up, everybody? Today is July 15th, 2023, and I have figured out how to travel into the future. Technically, though, I didn't figure it out. Vampire authors did, but we'll get to that. That's a slight detail. So, yeah, vampires are actually time travelers. Let me explain. So let's say you came to me and you're like, Matt, I want to travel into the future. Okay? And I'm like, well, all right. Well, just hang around. We all travel into the future every day. In a few hours, it will be tomorrow. And eventually, it'll be the next day and the next day. And so on. It'll be 2024, 2025, etc. Right? And you're like, no, Matt, that's not what I mean. You're like, I want to go into the future as my current self. I'm like, oh, okay. So what you're telling me is you want to go to the year, say, 2050, but as you are right now in 2023, as your current in your current state, in your current form, your current age, etc. You're like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I mean by time travel. I'm like, oh, so you want to become a vampire? You're like, wait, what? Yeah, that's all a vampire is. Apparently, now I figured out, a vampire is just a time traveler. So think about the movie Interview with the Vampire, or the books associated with the Vampire Chronicles, for example. Right? That's one of my favorite vampire books. So in those books or in that movie, when a person becomes a vampire, they one thing, they stop aging. Their hair doesn't grow anymore, their nails don't grow, their skin doesn't age. Whatever age they're at, whatever state they're in, they stay that state forever. They become immortal, right? And also in the books, they become impervious to most things. They can't get injured by, most things except being like stabbed in the heart or obviously being killed by the sunshine, something like that. But in general, they're immortal, right? Okay, so let's say you become a vampire in the year, just to say 1500. It's the year 1500, you're, say, 30 years old, and you become a vampire, right? So you stop aging completely, right? You become immortal. So the year 1550 comes around, the year 1600 comes around, 1700, 1800, etc., etc. Eventually, you're in the 2000s. Eventually, you get to 2050, and you're your same 30-year-old self, but in the future. That's exactly what you just described to me about you traveling into the future. You're going into these future years, whatever year it may be, as your current self. A vampire is just a time traveler. Inadvertently, these vampire authors have discovered how to time travel, and that's basically just stopping aging, right? So let's think about that for a moment. Let's think about the science or physics of that. So if that were possible, this to say, obviously this is all fictional, but if you were able to stop all your aging and growing and changing and all that kind of stuff, evolving, all that kind of stuff, again, you remain your current self forever. What you're essentially doing, my point is why this is time travel, is what you're doing is you're stopping time for yourself while everything else, the time for everything else continues to tick. Everything else in the world, animals and humans and trees and everything else continues to age. Time continues to go by for everything else. But what you've effectively done in becoming a vampire, you've stopped time for yourself. So time is stopped for yourself. Everything else keeps moving. You're moving along with the time of everything else, but your individual time has stopped. You've become a time traveler. Right? Fascinating, right? Now, obviously, the biggest problem with this is all, again, this is all fiction, this is all speculative. The biggest question is, well, how do you do that, right? But the main point is, now that that's figured out, that if you want to time travel, again, at least into the future, all you have to do is just stop the aging process for yourself, become immortal, then that's all that needs to be figured out. Humans have obviously been trying to do that for thousands of years, trying to figure out how to stop age and become immortal with potions and elixirs and pills and eating more blueberries, or maybe not eating so many blueberries. People have been trying to figure out for the longest time how to stop aging. And one of the recent, the more modern ideas is like, it's like, okay, we can't stop our body from aging. So what if the new current thought, again, this is not my idea, the new current thought is, well, what if we could just take our conscious out and put it into a robot, into a machine? Well, the machine doesn't age or die. And so our conscious will continue to live forever inside the machine. You just upgrade the robot every now and again, put oil on it or whatever you got to do to a robot, and your conscious will live on forever, right? But the correlation that people didn't put together, the 2 and 2 that people didn't put together, is once you do that, if you are able to stop aging, is my point, whether by becoming a vampire or putting your conscious into a robot or whatever, however you achieve it, once you stop aging, you become a time traveler. That's the correlation I haven't heard anybody put together yet. I just thought of it myself this morning. So yeah, vampires are just perpetual time travelers. Yeah, like I said, these vampire authors, unknowingly, they created time travelers. If you ask Anne Rice, the creator of Interview with the Vampire Chronicles, or she's passed away now, but if you'd asked her about it, she would have probably never thought about that she inadvertently created a time traveler. She stopped the aging process of someone, hundreds of years ago, and that person continued to go into the future. They were traveling through time into the future. So congratulations to them, to all the vampire authors. You unknowingly created, you unknowingly figured out how to time travel. You just stopped the aging process. So yeah, congratulations. But like I said, the big thing now, once we figure that out, is how to stop aging. That I don't know. Anyhow, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.